I do have a goal for a nine-figure exit. Whether or not that happens is not important. What is important is that in my head, every decision I make, and I drive this into the heads of my executives as well, is, does it make the company more valuable? It's like, that's the North Star. It's not what's the right thing for this or that? What's the right thing here or there? The North Star is, does it make the company overall more valuable? Because that answers all the questions.
Welcome to the $100 Million Mindset, the source for business owners who aspire to scale, grow, and reach their full potential. Whether you're aiming for 5 million, 10 million, or 100 million. Your hosts are Alan O'Neill, the Irish plumber, who scaled Abacus Plumbing and Cooling to over 100 million, and twangy Todd Liles, a coach to high-performing business leaders and the owner of Service Excellence, are going to help you think bigger, act smarter, and take your business to the next level.
Welcome back to another $100 Million Mindset with my co-host, Alan O'Neill, and part 2 with our guest, Ryan Fenn from Chiirp. Now, if you didn't check out the first episode, I'm going to recommend that you go check it out because it was absolutely fantastic. And even though we wrote an entire part 2 episode in advance, we're actually going to go back because I want to pick up in some of the conversations that we were in part number 1, which is why, again, if you haven't listened, press pause right now, go back, listen to number 1, and then come back. So, Ryan, this is what I want to explore with you. You have a business that started making serious cash flow. And early on, you talked about bringing on an investor that invested $500,000 in your business that was a billionaire. And then in a side conversation, you said, hey, we've made lots of money, but we've lost lots of money as well. But you've got to a place to where you're cash flow positive. And then about a year or two ago, you took on Tommy Mello as an investor. Now here's what I want to explore. I am curious if you took on Tommy as an investor because you needed the extra cash flow to get to the next level, or if it was really more of a relationship investment and you realize that Tommy's got a lot of, personal brand value that you could leverage. So will you talk about that and tell us where you're at in that step of the business?
Yeah, I'm not a traditional Silicon Valley tech guy. These guys, there's a lot of them in Utah, a lot of California. I come from the trades. I come from the windshield repair, right? And I come from the streets. My dad built houses growing up, and to me, entrepreneurship was building a business that makes money. And a lot of software companies take the approach of let's dump a ton of money, venture capital money into this, burn cash to get it up to a certain valuation, and then we will sell that company, and that's how we'll make money.
Right.
And it doesn't really resonate with me. More power to whoever's doing it like that, whatever. But it doesn't really resonate with me. And I've wanted to build a company that I was really proud of, that I felt like the customers were being taken care of, and that a lot of times I see in those situations, those guys tend to be a little more, their customer is the venture capital, right?
100%.
They're trying to impress them, and they're like, oh, I have all these customers, and they just think of it as like churn rates and this and that and all these KPIs, and there's no real personal connection there. The personal connection for them is to the VC and making them happy. And I just don't resonate with that. And I resonate with just building a good, solid, traditional American company, right? Like the old school way of doing things. And so when I was building this business, we were always profitable. I don't want to say always. We started at the beginning, and that first chunk of money, as it was being used to build this, I started to get, a lot of anxiety around, if you listen to the first episode, we struggled for 3 or 4 years to figure out product market fit and where how this thing was going to work, and that money was disappearing quickly. And it wasn't until, and I broke my own rules of saying I'm going to try to build the system without the hustle. I'm going to try to hire sales guys and get the right people in place, and it'll work, right? And I did that, and I hired sales guys and did this, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't going the way I thought. And I had to get into the trenches. I had to get back in. That's when I said I sat in my room and I did demos myself to get it up, to build the system through hustle.
I want to stop here and ask you, and I do want to come back to the Tommy, but
Yeah.
I'll make sure we stay on track here. But
Yeah.
I have found similar things in our earlier days, which was no one could sell it like I could sell it.
Right.
That's such a big
Right.
problem. It's
Yep.
not a good problem for scale, but
Right.
you're essentially saying the same thing.
Yep.
So I want to ask what it was about those first salespeople that couldn't make it work, then what it was about Justin that did make it work, and then we'll come back to the Tommy.
Sure. So what it was about the sales guys at first that didn't make it work is they didn't they don't have the conviction that the owner has, and they don't have the like that deep understanding of what problem you're actually solving. And so they kind of follow along, and they were trying to figure it out, but they hadn't lived the experience that I had lived, and so they just couldn't nail the pitch, right? It was too surface level. And so I had to get in and dial it in over a year. And I took it, like I said, from 20,000 to 100,000. And that allowed me, that kind of like granted me the permission to then go hire a sales guy. Like the universe said, okay, now you've done the work. Now you can find a guy like Justin. And when Justin came in the first day and he saw me pitch, the light went, he was like, oh yeah, this is, he heard the pitch the first day and was like, dang, okay, I get it. But that was a year of chiseling down that pitch to what actually caused people to push the buy button, right? And as an owner before, relying on sales guys to figure out those deep buy buttons it doesn't work. You have to, for me, it doesn't work. You got to be in the trenches, right? It's just like at the gas station. I wouldn't have been, a guy wouldn't show up and wash the windshield if I hadn't stood there and figured that out.
Yeah.
You know, I can't expect somebody else to do it until I've done it.
A traditional salesperson doesn't want to do the math. They just want to be told what the equation is.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
figure it out.
Yep. And so you have to figure out the pitch. You have to figure out the buy button. And then you can pass the baton on to a guy like Justin. But what do they say? The magic is in the work that you're avoiding. The results you're looking for are in the work you're avoiding. And it's like, that's what I was doing. And so when Justin comes along, I then had a baton to pass at that point, right? I didn't even have the baton at the beginning. So that's what allowed Justin to step into that and take over something that we had created.
I appreciate you answering that. So now let's go back to, I want to paraphrase. Maybe I'm dead wrong here, but I think what you said is I needed the money in the beginning, but then I didn't. We were making money.
Yep.
So it brings us back to why Tommy as an investor.
Yeah. So at that point, Justin and I had been looking for, we started what we called the partner program at Chiirp, and we put 35 partners on the board of people we wanted to work with. We put Nexstar and different podcasts, different influencers, all these different people that we identified as who could we get a relationship with that would help drive Chiirp. And we showed up every single day, and Tommy Mello was on that board as one of the partners that could potentially drive leads to our business. And every day we'd go in and we'd look at that board. And this, if you guys want to get into law of attraction and any of that stuff, we were in there every day looking at every single one of those 35 going, okay, what do we do with this guy? Okay. Putting little notes on the whiteboard. We have pictures of it. And we ultimately got all 35 of those partners through that process. But Tommy was one of them. And I went and spoke at his event, and it was the biggest investment that I had made up to that point. It was like $10,000 to go speak at Vertical Track. And that was whew, okay. and so I get up and I speak, and Tommy listened to me speak. And he came up to me after, he was like, hey, that was really great. We should talk. And so we started this relationship. And then couple weeks later, we were meeting at Service World, and he's there, and he goes, "Hey, you should come over to my house after." And my flight was in an hour, and I was like, "Well, I'm missing that flight." And so I go to Tommy's house, and he's like, "Hey, I really, I listen to you speak. I feel like," he's like, "I invest in entrepreneurs. I don't necessarily invest in products. I like to invest in entrepreneurs and who they are." And I liked how you handled yourself. And so he goes, let's meet at the office tomorrow. We'll talk. So we go to the office, and he goes, I want to figure out how I could be part of Chiirp. And I go, so we weren't actively seeking funds. We were profitable. We were making money. We had good momentum. And I honestly didn't really know how I'd even spend more money, because every dollar we were making, we were reinvesting, and it was going great. And it's like, this is, I don't know where I would actually deploy, And so we met with him, and he made an offer, and we went back, and I said, the key for me is that if he invests in the business, he'll be convicted to work with us and promote us and talk about us. But we don't want to do it inorganically. He was a user of Chiirp and being successful with it. So I didn't want him saying, "Oh, A1 Garage Door is successful with Chiirp." And I'm saying that because I invested in the company. Like, it doesn't, like, I don't want that, right? So he was already successful with, he was already using it. He was already, so I felt comfortable doing that, because that's the last thing. I see this a lot in the industry. Especially a lot of the Silicon Valley type guys, they'll offer equity in exchange for influence. And I really have a problem with that, because it's inorganic, and you're just talking about a product because you're going to make money off of it. And so I wanted to early on say, hey, like, you have to be having success with this before. But I saw it as, at that point, it's like, well, he is having success, so we can honestly say that, he's convicted, and he believes in it, and he believes in it so much that he's willing to invest in the business. That just puts, fuel on the fire. And so I really saw it as an opportunity to work with him very closely. We will deploy the cash in a way that will accelerate the business, but it's less about the cash than it was about aligning with somebody like Tommy, who is an influencer and who is making things happen. And for me, it was just an opportunity to say, hey, like, all of the pieces line up. I align with him as far as he's a very, if you've ever met him, he's to me the most genuine person in the trades. The stuff he talks about, he honestly believes. He cares deeply about people, and that's something that just amazes me. He cares very deeply about the people he works with. He calls me regularly. We talk all the time, and it's like when he says, what does he say on stage? He says, "I want to dream so big everybody else's dream will fit inside of it." And I genuinely believe he means that. And that's rare in the guru space, right?
I agree. Yeah.
And so when I saw that, it was like, okay, this is a lot less about the investment and a lot more with alignment. And it's been just amazing. So
what's been some of the things that you've learned working with him?
So some of the things that I've learned working with Tommy is he's just a no excuses guy. I don't know if you've heard the story. I don't like to use foul language. I'm going to use one foul
I think we can
word
hear
here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that bad. But, I was at his house, and we're laying on the couch waiting. We're about to head over to A1 Garage. And we're just chilling in his living room. And I'm laying on the couch, which is a joke now because people have taken me pictures of me laying on the couch at his house, and they post it, and it became a joke. But he looks at me and he goes, "Ryan, roll your fat ass off my couch and let's go." And I go, oh, that word roll stung deep, right? Roll your fat ass. And I'm like, all right. And that's when I was like, okay, I can't be unhealthy. I was overweight. I was 215 plus pounds, and it was like, okay, he obviously is very serious about this. And he's not going to come out and say it, but he says it in ways that just like inspire you to go, okay, like it's time. And I've lost 40 pounds since then. And so from him, he's just an absolute no excuses kind of guy. You just can't get an excuse in that he will entertain. It's just like, even if it's like you don't even think you're making an excuse, you'll discover that you are from his reaction. You go, oh, wait, I'm making an excuse. And it's like, oh, shoot. And he's just really, really, really good at that. And he's also just really, really, really good in believing that things will work out. Like, just like if I'm good at it, he is 100 times better. And he is the king of just going, cool, like, we will figure it out. It will work. I've already manifested it. It's happening. And it's like go time. And it just is just super inspiring. So
why did it not offend you when you said roll your fat ass off the couch?
Because first, I don't get offended, but mostly because I know that's like dude speak for like, I love you, but like you got to do something about this. It's not a it hurt, it stung, but it was like he's trying to make me a better person.
Do you think he was sending you a message, or he was just
100%, because it was that and other subtle like things, you know.
So he would never. This is what I'm hearing. It's like he kind of says that too because he knows you, and it's sort of like, I mean it, but it's sort of a joke. But
yeah,
you've also said he would never. I forget how you said it, but basically you're using the word subtle. So was there never like a moment where he's like preachy, like, hey, you know, Ryan, let me tell you why you need to lose weight. Like nothing like that.
No. It's always lead by example, right? Like I remember one time, you know, I'm at his house and he's like, hey, we're walking in the morning, you know, and I go, okay, cool. And I slept in. I missed it. And I go, why didn't you wake me up? And he goes, I'm not going to come wake you up, dude. Like, what is this? Like, it's like, but I felt this like really heavy, like, whoa, you missed an opportunity. Right.
Yeah.
And it's always by example through him. And that's, you know, so he's never, it's never like that subtle lesson, roll your fat ass on my couch. Right. It's him going, dude, okay, it's time. Let's get going, you know?
Yeah.
And I took it for that and made it happen. But
my daughter got mad at me. I think it was last week on Saturday or something.
You didn't say that to her.
No. I would say it to my daughter.
I know.
But she slept in till like 11:30 or something.
Yeah.
We went and did something that morning. She knew we were going to do some things in the morning, but I let her sleep. And in the morning, she woke up and said, why did you, going into that. And I said, Willa, we told you when we were going.
Yep.
And you said you were going to set an alarm. When you didn't come down, I let you sleep. Oh, but Dad, you. And I'm like, no.
Yep.
You're almost 15.
Yep.
Dad's not going to take your excuses anymore. But now to give her this credit, last night she came and said, Dad, will you help me? I'm working on getting my handstand. She's trying to get a trick so she can get to the next level of dance team. She's at the junior varsity level. She wants the varsity level. I'm like, yeah, come on. Show me what you're working on. And I did CrossFit for a lot of years. I'm going, I can show you how to do that. And she's like, you can't do this. I'm like, yeah, let me show you. So I did a handstand for her and then a headstand, which is what she's working on. And I was able to coach her through it. And she went from, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. Like, let me just show you. What did you do, Dad? Okay, now get down, scoot a little closer, get it all the way to your back, touches the wall. Now kick up. She kicked up and she fell over. I'm like, okay, let me do it again for you. I'm like, now watch my legs. I'm like, how did I kick up? She said, you kicked up quickly. And I said, yeah, but I'm going to use the word violently. So I want you to kick up violently and then bam, right into position. And she's like, oh, look at me. Take a video, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
So she's doing these headstands now. It's the same thing, right? It's
Yeah.
So I get what I get that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not gonna come wake you up. We told you when we were leaving.
Yeah.
And if you want to do a handstand, I'll show you how to do one if I can.
Yep.
And then let's it go. So
yeah.
All right. So for you, it wasn't money. It was relationship and alignment.
Yeah, and there was a little opportunity to take a little bit of equity off, a little bit of chips off the table, and put some money in my pocket and say, cool, draw a line in the sand and say, my company's worth X right now, and I can take a little bit of liquid for that. And so that was cool, but it's not the end game. And it's the cool thing and the hard thing about companies and business and everything is if you have something really valuable that people want to buy, you probably don't want to sell it. And if you have something, and if you really want to sell it, it probably isn't. It probably isn't. And so it's this weird like conundrum that you find yourself in, right? Where it's like when things are, when you have a really awesome company and people will want to buy it, that's when it's like, dang, this is hard to do. And so you just have to decide where you're going and kind of not compromise. It's hard to not compromise that stuff sometimes because you go, oh, I could just cash out and be done. I could just sell this and just be done right now. And there's days where you have those moments, right? And you just go, man, I could just sell this thing and walk away. And you have to be convicted to a point where you're not willing to be tempted by that. There have been offers on the table where there was a temptation to be like, oh, I could just be done, walk away. And it's like, no, that's not the right thing for my customers. It's not the right thing for my employees. And this one felt right on all levels. So
will you tell us about the vision? Like, where do you see it going?
I was going to ask the same question. Yeah. Okay.
$1 trillion. No. This is something that, this is definitely a weakness of mine because I will bounce around this, and it's something that I settled in recently. I do have a goal for a 9-figure exit. But whether or not that happens is not important. What is important is that in my head, every decision I make, and I drive this into the heads of my executives as well, is, does it make the company more valuable? It's like, that's the North Star. It's not what's the right thing for this or that? What's the right thing here or there? The North Star is, does it make the company overall more valuable? Because that answers all the questions. Do we have happy customers? Do we have happy employees? Do we have a good model? All these things fall under that umbrella of, does it make the company more valuable? And if the answer is yes, then we go for that thing. And so the vision is definitely a 9-figure, let's say not exit, let's say a 9-figure valuation. Whether or not we exit, I can't 100% say that that's the goal, but I want a valuation of, we have a $200 million thing on our wall.
What time frame are you giving yourself for it?
We think that the next 24 months, and this is, we have to be careful with this because AI is changing things so dramatically that we're in a space that's like, okay, we're just riding this like crazy new. It's like .com, it's like, who knows where it's going, and it's going so fast that it's just like, we're happy to just be on the wave and not trying to force too much of a narrative. But I think ultimately, if we were able to nail what we've put together, because we are releasing a whole new platform this year, and we're releasing a whole new approach, and our approach is such that there are now tools after tools after tools. Anybody can wake up and build an AI bot, or anybody can wake up and build a software platform. What they can't do is duplicate our experience.
I was going to ask you if it was brand or technology or people at this point for Chiirp.
Yeah. So for us, it's brand and people. The tools are awesome, and we built the best tools in my opinion. But if we hang our hat on that, there's just too much going on. There's just too much. It's becoming too easy to program and build things. And so what people can't do is they can't mine our 100 million text messages and use AI to determine what words and what phrases and what times of day and what different things are working the best. And we inadvertently created a product that I didn't mean to. It was like we accidentally stumbled onto this, where over the last 7 years, we've sent over 100 million text messages. Never in my head did I think we would be able to extract value from that because it's 100 million text messages. How are we going to do that? And AI presented this opportunity to say, hey, plug AI into these 100 million text messages and ask it for insights. And we're getting insights back from those 100 million text messages on what is the most effective way to follow up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, no matter what your tool has, you can't duplicate that. And so that's the kind of the drive forward is now we're going, we have our experience, we have our platform, and then we have people. And the people, and so when you come to me as a business and you say, hey, I want to follow up better, we're not saying, okay, here's some software, good luck. We're saying, we're going to be your coach, we're going to be your partner, and we're going to help you implement these systems across your business.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to partner. So instead of you going, what tools should I pick? Should I do this one? This one? I don't know what tools. I'm going to buy this guy over here. I'm going to buy this. We're going to say, we've got everything you need to accomplish these goals, and we're going to do it together, and you don't have to think about it. Because that's the big problem we're seeing right now in this space is people are going, man, there's 1,000 tools. I don't know which one to buy. My software costs are going through the roof. I'm paying subscriptions here and subscriptions there and over here, and I don't even know if I'm getting use out of them. And we go, let's organize that chaos. Let's get you an AI coach, revenue optimization specialist, who will look at the low-hanging fruit and say, this is where your holes are. Let's work on that. Then let's move to this strategy. Then let's move to this strategy and to this one, instead of just going, good luck, here's some tools, you know? So that's the vision. Yeah. And so I think in the next 12 to 24 months with that.
So it's fair to say, Ryan, that you see AI as more of an opportunity than a threat to Chiirp.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's only because we're riding the wave and going,
right.
Like, you know, Justin and I say, it's like, wherever the market is, we'll find the opportunity. There's never going to be a point where we go, oh, shoot, there's no more opportunity.
Right.
But we'd have to pivot, right? And we have to find the opportunity. Yeah. And for us, the opportunity is to step back and say, okay, we're not just going to try to make the best AI tool, because that's like you're chasing something that's like impossible to stay ahead of, and it's just you're always going to be like chasing. And now we're saying, hey, we're just going to instead focus on helping the company organize AI within their business,
exactly,
and use the tools appropriately and in ways that will affect change and growth in their business.
How are you guys implementing AI? And I mean this from a tactical standpoint, because I sort of see it like you can't find a good, programmer.
Right.
A 20-year ago problem. And today it's like there are people that are obviously doing it, but it's so new and it's changing so fast. How are you guys finding the human or the humans are like, okay, I'm the person or I'm the company that's going to come in here and add AI into Chiirp?
Well, what's really, really cool is we're standardizing the idea of how we approach this, and we're using AI to do that. And so it's like we're like so many layers of AI deep into the business. We have our marketing team who is creating AI tools that allow him to standardize how we market the business. The coaching program is using AI to standardize coaching, so that a coach within our organization is trained both by our lead. I mentioned him in the other podcast, Taylor, who is, in my opinion, the smartest automation expert in the game. He's leading this charge of creating this team, and we see it as scalable because the people are able to leverage the AI standards that we're setting up, and so they become the filter to the company. And so we're using all this data, the 100 million text messages, all these things. And then the person is the relationship with the company to help implement those things in their business. But they don't have to be mega experts. We're providing a standardized tool set and way of doing it so that they can be the filter, but they don't have to be unicorn AI guys, right?
Yeah.
So did that answer your question? I think so.
It does.
Yeah.
What is your sweet spot in terms of the size of a customer? Like, obviously I started a company from zero, grew to 100 million.
Yep.
I would feel extremely overwhelmed at a $3 or $4 or $5 million company.
Yep.
If we started in 2003. It's a whole different world today.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, what's your sweet spot for a company size when you're out there pitching Chiirp?
Yeah.
Or what size company do you think it helps? Let me ask it another way.
Yeah.
At what stage of a company's growth should they consider Chiirp?
Well, let's talk in terms of that moving from hustle to system, right? Where if you're at the gas station still figuring that out, you're probably not there yet.
Yeah.
But if you're in 3 or 4 gas stations, you're probably there. Let's use that, right?
That's
And so
fair enough.
we look at it and kind of go like, you're getting to $1 million a year, and that's where you're starting to go, okay, I made $1 million, but I didn't make any money. What the heck? Like, how do I systemize, right? That's where you start to have those questions, right? At that mark, 2 to 3 million is like a really great spot. Revenue's there. You're able to invest in tools and start to find the sweet spots and the leaks and all this stuff. So that 3 to 10 million range is really awesome space for us.
Mm-hmm.
We can affect massive change there. That kind of that space where you're like, if you're thinking about going for private equity and you want to, maximize, that's a good space to be. And then we do work with a lot of private equity companies. We have $100 million to A1 Garage Door. We have $100 million companies, and we can affect massive change there as well. But that 3 to 10 range, where you're like new to automation, that is a really prime spot for us to come in and say, we can find low hanging fruit, we can find wins really quickly, and we can make you love this process, and then it'll just grow with you throughout.
Right.
It's harder when you're bigger, 30 million, and you have to retroactively try to back into it, right? And so it's good at that opening space. And we say overwhelming, and that's what we're really trying to solve, because this stuff is overwhelming. It's overwhelming still for me. And so I go, how can I expect a home service company who's really good at what they do be good at what I do too?
Right. Yeah.
It's too much. And so what we're trying to do is come in and say, hey, listen, we could, like we said, throw all the tools at you and say, why don't you know how to do this? Duh. Like, of course, you should be following up 7 times. This, it's like, you shouldn't know. It's like, I'm an HVAC guy. I know how to fix HVAC. Like, why should I know that? And so we say, we've got the playbook. We've got the actual strategies lined up. And we're going to come in and we're going to just do one at a time. Like, don't worry about implementing all of this all at once. We're going to start with speed to lead. We're going to start there, right? Or I'm using that as an example. We're going to find where you need it the most, but let's use that example. You're not contacting your leads enough. Well, yeah, but I'm also not doing this. I'm also doing this. I'm not also doing this. Great. Let's get to that. But let's start at the beginning of the customer journey and make sure that's being, perfect. That's handled.
Yeah.
Then move on to the next, then to the next. And we've got basically three strategies. We've got lead conversion, we've got estimate conversion, we've got customer loyalty. And within those, many tactics on how to maximize each of those stages of the customer journey and find those leaks. And over the year, and hopefully faster, but over the year, we're going to implement those along the way. We're going to force you to have patience when you say, well, but what about here? We're going to say, listen, we know that that's a problem, but you're not ready to yet implement that in your business. And that's where that coaching aspect of, we're not going to come in and just go, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to work on? It's like, no, this is what you need to work on.
Right.
What were those 3 things again? Lead conversion, number 1.
Lead conversion, estimate conversion, we'll call it estimate rehash, estimate conversion, and then customer loyalty. And within lead conversion, we have speed to lead, we have abandoned calls, we have missed call, we have Angie, Thumbtack, all the aggregators, website forms, Google LSA, all those speed to lead opportunities, making sure that you're implementing AI voice on the nights and weekends to make sure that you're not missing calls, all those things at the beginning to nail lead conversion in the follow-up there. Now that creates an estimate, right? That creates an opportunity to give an estimate. Now we want to make sure that your estimates are maximized. They're closing at the highest rate. Are we following up consistently? And not just consistently, but with surgical precision, meaning, is it a bigger ticket item? Then that's going to require a different cadence. Is it a lower ticket? That's a different cadence. Like there's various things within estimates. It's not just estimate sent, follow up. It's estimate sent that had this invoice amount was this technician, this business type, business unit, this job type. And we have all these variations of that so that you're saying, okay, we're following up appropriately based on the type of estimate. We're also looking at sold, dismissed, and closed. So you say, or I said that sold. So we want to get information on the dismissed estimates too. We want to say, why didn't they go with us? Let's follow up there and understand better why they didn't go with us. Maybe we can get some information. I didn't like how the sales guy had dirty shoes on when he came in my house, or something like that. You wouldn't know unless you ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also something that people don't think about is the feelings that are created when we leave a house. We sell a job and there's that buyer's remorse that kicks in, right? They go, whoa, was I just in a trance? Did I just get sold? Did I just get, screwed? And if we can implement, this is where we can send a message with like the owner, with a video of the owner saying, hey, we really appreciate you doing business. I'm going to make sure you're well taken care of. And we can kind of catch that moment where they might be feeling buyer's remorse and say, oh, he does care about me, and I okay, good. I still feel good about this decision, right? So there's all these little nuances throughout the customer journey that we're plugging along the way. But if we just said, do these all at once, it's just like just way too much.
So for a potential customer, Ryan, is there a particular set of softwares that the potential customer must be using in order to integrate Chiirp, or can you work with any software that's out there?
Generally, so our deepest integrations are Service Titan, House Call Pro, Jobber, Field Pulse, Job Nimbus, and then those are our deepest, like, but anybody can still, like, if you don't have systems or we can still find ways. It may not be as robust,
Right.
but we can still find ways. And generally, we can find workarounds when there's not ways to implement something. So, like, it's very rare that we say, no, we can't. That just doesn't work, because we've got Zapier and we've got webhooks and APIs and we've got all these things, and we can find a way to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish, usually. And so even if you don't have Service Titan, House Call Pro, we would still say, let's talk and see if
what we can do.
We can do, because Chiirp can be a standalone thing. And you say, well, you're going to have to do some of this stuff manually. That's just, the way it is with how tools are set up right now. But ultimately, it's still better than not doing any of it, right? Yeah, and so there's always ways to improve the business. Those ones definitely are like our deepest things, but we would still encourage you to, because ultimately, what are we trying to do? We're trying to get a message to the homeowner at the right time.
Yeah,
the tool,
exactly.
The tool works the way it is, but sometimes it's just like with other tools. Sometimes you only have a hammer when you need pliers, but you make the hammer work somehow, right? It's like same idea, right? It's like we're still going to find a way to get that message to the customer at the right time. So,
well, listening to all the things that you're saying here, it's exciting, and B, it also makes me go, clearly this has gotten a lot bigger than you.
Yeah.
So we've heard Justin's voice, or Justin's name. You've mentioned a few other people like Kevin. How big is your team right now?
We're just under 50 employees.
You're under 50 team members.
Yeah.
And of the 50, how many of those people are like sitting in your key positions, like your executive positions, leading other team members?
So we have Garrett, who's here, who's VP of brand and marketing. We have Justin, who's VP of partnerships. Taylor, who's VP of product. So he's making sure that we're building the new system to be the gold standard of automation in the home service space. We have Jared, who is our director of operations, and also he's an attorney, so he's our head of legal. We have Tavi, who is our VP of revenue. He's making sure that dollars being spent are being invested wisely. And then did I mention everybody? That's everybody, right? And then actually, a proud moment of mine was my dad, who has been in construction management for his entire life. He's built hundreds of homes, like I said earlier. He also built the LDS temple in Rome, Italy. He was there for 8 years building that.
Wow.
So he's a really talented project manager, but he was getting tired of building homes and just kind of that game. And I sat down with him and I kind of said, I think project management would be something we need here right now. We're getting to a point where when we come up with new ideas, we need this, but I don't really quite fully understand it. So what I need you to do is I need you to go on ChatGPT and I need you to say, I'm a construction management pro. I've been doing this for this long, and train it who you are, and then say, I need you to tell me how that's going to be relevant in software project management, and then teach me how to be a software project manager. And he literally spent a month going through that, and now he's our project manager and crushing it, like just absolutely crushing it. And so it's a really proud moment of mine for A, to hire my dad. That was cool. And then B, to see what can be done with AI to move people through. Like, I told my daughter, she wants to own a salon when she's 18 and she's 12. And I said, if you really want to do it, sit down with ChatGPT, say, I'm 12 years old, design a program that over the next 6 years, I can consult with you and you'll teach me how to own a salon in 6 years. And she's asking it, and it's subtly, it's teaching her fundamentals, right? Basic things that you would teach a 12-year-old. And it's really cool to see. I think that's really powerful. So
50 employees,
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus you 7 key executives. What will you guys do in revenue, or what did you do in revenue in 25 since that year's up?
just under 10 million.
Just under 10 million.
Yeah.
So that's quite a revenue per employee, and you guys are going for an evaluation of 200 million in 2 years.
Yeah.
What do you think you'll have to be in revenue to be worth 200 million in 2 years?
If it's all going to come down to a couple of things. AI, if we execute on AI, we can get a high multiple, right? Because that's where investors are going nuts. So we could potentially get a really high multiple. I'm not banking on that, but software that does really well can get a 10x top line even without an AI, and there's all kinds of, somebody could probably come at me and be like, no, you get higher, you get lower. There's a million different opinions about this. So if you're listening to this and you don't agree with me, feel free to text me and yell at me. But the goal would be like just kind of the gold standard, and kind of what I think is a 10x would be really great.
Top line,
right? So if we can get to 20 million, which if we double what we're doing, and I have a defensible reason why we're different, then I could potentially see that being a reality. So doubling revenue, and then we have to double revenue. We have to prove that we are building things that are different. And I think that our data that we're pulling from the 100 million text messages and building the AI around the AI brain around those 100 million text messages and all that data is what's going to give us a differentiator. But, it remains to be seen. So the goal is to double and to also fix all of those things. So
So what's your
Just a
retention,
star.
your retention level with customers right now, Ryan?
retention level is in the low 3% monthly. So it's home service just traditionally has a high churn period. It's just the way it is. There's a lot of businesses go in and out of business, and so traditionally it's high. We're kind of in we're in a good space, not great. We're in good but not great, and that's what we think this whole new program of holding the hand tighter is going to do. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being candid about that. I'm sitting here going, that's a good question, Alan. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is,
it's a challenge that every software company faces.
Mhm.
We are not immune to it by any means. We're not perfect. We've made a lot of mistakes, and there's some people that just we don't align with, and they come on and they say, I want to do this, this, and this. I want to accomplish this, and it's just not a good fit, and we find that out later. So.
Well, and part of what he was saying, and Alan, I can tell you have a question. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but is it because of your expectations? Because most people, when they implement a software, they want everything now. And from what I'm hearing you say, it's like, no, you're going to have to do this over time, which is kind of like what we say as coaches, which is we can only implement what you can implement. We can't plug it all in. You have to make it work. So that's my question is why the retention rate?
Well, and you got to think, it's crazy. You'll build a software like, so let's say ServiceTitan, for example. we found that no one company uses Service Titan the same as the next company.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like everybody does it a little different. And so until we get in and actually see how you're using it, there are times where things just don't line up. The company will want it to work a certain way, and we just can't. We'd have to build a very custom process for it to work that way. And we can't build custom software for every single customer. It's just the way it is. And so we end up learning that later that it's not a good fit. And that's a hard thing to understand up front until you've gotten in there. Because like you said, you can go in and just create so many various, like, it's crazy how different people can. They'll always figure out some workaround where they're making something happen over here that's breaking this over here or whatever. And so we and that's where we're hoping that the new strategy will say, hey, we're going to expect you to change also to fit how we know it works right and how it works well.
I was going to say, Ryan, that I would imagine, knowing a fair amount of people in home services, there are owners that don't want to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Right.
And one thing your software will do, I imagine, is shine a light on deficiencies.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, I could see owners and management teams going, I don't like this. Like, this is highlighting some areas that we don't want highlighted.
Yeah.
Although it may be costing them money, they you know, I have seen where people don't want to be held accountable.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yep. And at the end of the day, I try to make every customer happy, but you know, it's like it's like any business. You guys know with home services, it's like not every customer is going to be happy no matter what you do.
That's absolutely right.
And
Well,
so
I'm actually sort of glad to hear you say that, because I didn't want you to be over there like winning 100% of the time.
Yeah,
Thinking,
right,
"Dang
right.
it, another person who's got it all figured out but me."
oh yeah, no. I don't want to give that. I don't want to give that impression at all. We're all figuring it out, and the net is positive. Like people that say, they go, it's not perfect. It's not exactly what I want, but I'm net positive. I'm making more money than I did before, and there's still things we can clean up. That's where that's when you know you have a good customer, right? Where they're like, hey, like we implemented what we could, and we've got it all working. And the net positive is that I'm making a lot more money than I'm investing in this software, and it's making things easier. Great. Is it perfect? It's never going to be perfect. And with AI, the way things are going, there's going to be so many changes, so many pivots you have to make constantly that it's like we'll never really get to like, okay, push this button and everything will work. That's the goal, right? But it's like it's never going to get there for the foreseeable future anyways. But for now, we find where we can be net positive, get huge ROIs. We see companies come in and, you know, they'll get like a 10,000% ROI on Chiirp. They'll be spending, you know, X dollars a month for it. And those, like Aaron Gaynor with Eco Plumbers, he comes in his first week, he implements one of our missed call campaigns, and he does $250,000 in revenue from that campaign in his first week. And it's like, well, he's not spending anywhere near that on Chiirp. So it's like, okay, who cares that, you know, one of the other campaigns isn't working as well, right? And so it's net positive. Tommy Mello's like, we did that, and he does a few extra $1 million that would have been lost revenue,
Right.
you know? So yeah, I would love to say, hey, you come in, you click this button, and Chiirp will just make you money. But you know, we're working on it. But
Well, in just a moment, I'm going to take Ryan and Garrett and Matt Michaud, who's waiting on us. I'm gonna take them on to the Salt Lick, Alan. So that's what we're going to do.
oh,
for this
nice.
episode.
Oh yeah,
But
I know
Alan,
the Salt Lick.
before we wrap up and take these men to eat some good barbecue, do you have any final thoughts today?
I was going to ask, how did you come up with the name Chiirp?
So this is a. I wish this was a more interesting story. I wish it was. We were kind of like, we had like, our brains were melted trying to figure out a name for this. We were just going on and on. And my brother, the one who's been with me from the beginning of the windshield repair, he's been there. He was like, I like the word Chiirp, and he Googled Chiirp, and there's a company called Brand Bucket. So if anybody's interested, Brand Bucket goes out and they buy domain names, and then they create brands, and then they sell the brand. Right? That's their model. And all they do is they create a logo and some colors, and that's it. And it's like, and we looked down there, and Chiirp was on there, and I was like, and it just sang to me. It was like,
Was it that logo as
it was
well?
the logo and everything.
Hilarious.
And I was
It
like,
works.
whoa. And it just like was magic. And it was like $3,000 to buy it from Brand Bucket.
That's amazing.
And I was like, boop.
Huh.
And I wish it was.
Yeah.
Oh, I grew up, and my mom would love chirping birds, or some story that
But the two eyes, why?
That's how it was.
Yeah.
That was it. And it. What's cool about that is software.
Because one eye would have been $20,000.
Either that or it's like software always misspells the word. It's like that's the mark of a software, right?
Yeah,
It's like the word but misspelled. And it was like, oh, that totally works. And then we've tried to like come up with like reasons for the two eyes, and it's like it's because of domain availability, pretty much.
Well,
that's
that makes sense.
that's what it comes down to.
Makes
So
All right. Well, very cool. Well, Ryan, thank you for coming here and spending time with us in Austin. I mean, it means a lot when someone takes time away from their family, gets in an airplane, and chooses to come hang out with us. So
well, really, we came for the Comedy Mothership last night, and you guys just happened to be here. So I'm just kidding. No, really, this has been an honor. Just like super appreciative, and couldn't be happier to be here. And just like it means a lot to me. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Alan, always thank you for making the journey out here.
Not a problem. Enjoyed it.
All right, listeners, this was part number 2 of Ryan Fenn and his story about Chiirp. And as I shared with you, if you haven't listened to part number 1, go check it out. It's amazing. In part number 2, we basically said we're just going to scratch the show notes because there were so many things that were interesting. We wanted to explore those, and we did. So my takeaway from this, my big one that I believe is like what really sinks home for me is that every stage of business, no matter if it's being successful or not, has struggles, it has problems, and it takes a visionary owner. It takes a CEO who says, I have a reason for doing this, I have a goal, and I'm going to go after it. And no matter how the climate changes, I'm going to make it happen. And I believe that Ryan's going to do that, and I believe you can as well. So until we talk to you next time, this is Todd Liles and my partner Alan O'Neill with the $100 Million Mindset.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the show this week. Head over to toddliles.com/mindset to get the show notes. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a new episode of the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, then share it. It really helps us get the word out. You've been watching the $100 Million Mindset with Alan O'Neill and twangy Todd Liles.